Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is a Strv S1. It's a Tier 8 Swedish premium tank destroyer. It's located on the east spawn of Airfield and it's under the command of Andromeda. Now, it's a pair of replays featuring this Strv and being driven by Andromeda. So let's see how he gets on in the first one. Well, it's a 105mm gun. As you can see, it's capable of doing 390 alpha and penetrating 288mm of armour. But it appears that Andromeda hasn't loaded into the game yet. The gun is fixed to the hull. It's actually aimed by the suspension being adjusted very, very finely and precisely by pneumatics. So that's how these tank destroyers work. Very thin armour, but it's at such an angle that most of the shells will just bounce off, but shells which actually have a 3 times the armour thickness in calibre will auto penetrate. They'll overmatch the hull and it will go through. Now, I don't think you can see those enemy tanks at the moment because they're the other side of Temple Mount. I call it Temple Mount because of that temple, the columns you see in the south part of it, which looks like a ruined temple. A bit like the Parthenon in Athens, which actually, funnily enough, I have actually been to. Although I turned up rather late and they just closed when I arrived to have a look over the area. Which is a bit sad because I wanted to see it, but there you go. Big mistake by me. Oh, looks like that enemy made a bit of a mistake. That was an EBR 90. And Andromeda was just a little too late to get that T-54 first prototype. But he keeps popping up. And our T-54E1 is just the other side waiting for him to appear. Now, this is a Tier 10 game with Tier 8 tanks in it. So there's plenty of potential for Andromeda to earn XP. Now, he's in siege mode at the moment, and that kind of restricts his ability to move about, because once you're in siege mode, for fine precise aiming, the vehicle can't move very fast. He's come out of siege mode to readjust his position. Maximum speed, if I remember correctly, is something like 50 kilometers an hour, something of that nature. I haven't got it actually precisely in front of me at the moment, but I think it's somewhere in that region. Oh, that Samur's coming out. If he comes a bit further, he will get penetrated. In fact, I think he's there, but he's sitting behind the bush at the moment, can't be seen. And oh, our E50 just got ammo-racked by their 60 TP. Bad news. You see, it blew his turret off, but the turret's now resting on the hull. Well, Andromeda hasn't really had much trade so far. I think that's because he actually came to this position rather than going up to the usual tank destroyer positions, which is where the SU-130PM is in D9. That little slope, you can actually get good shots on the enemy in the tank alley, the heavy tank alley. Now, he could move on to Temple Mount, but there is Arty, and if the Arty works out where he is, they might decide to lob a shell in his direction. The enemy team has got an FV-3805. Now, there might very well be an enemy tank directly under his sights right now, but he just can't see them because nobody's spotting them for him. But thankfully, he probably can't be seen by him either because he's carrying a camo net and he's probably too far away. Yeah, that's Samur and the 60 TP. They might have been coming out to that bush. Just have the occasional look. It's still a very quiet battle. Okay, he's loaded a premium round, premium APCR. Now, the standard rounds, as you can see here, will do 288mm of armour, but the premium ones will go through 330. So, really useful if you're going to be up against something like a 60 TP. Oh, and incidentally, the 60 TP is going to be in the loot boxes, or one of their 2D styles, or 3D styles rather, is going to be in the loot boxes at Christmas. So, and it's rather a good version of the 60TP. It's one with a huge anti-aircraft gun on top of the tank. Okay, he's decided to change position again. It's going to help the Link 6x6. Unfortunately, our T-54E1's moved a little further north. Or is he going to try and do something very, very bold and come around behind the enemy? I always like these sort of things when somebody does this and they outflank the enemy completely and change the dynamic of the game. And that T-54 first prototype is going to know somebody's behind him. He would have, Sixth Sense would have gone off. Yes, he does know. And now he's going to be vulnerable to fire from the Waffenträger and also from some of the other enemies in the vicinity. But that T-54 is a one-shot. Only needs to get one round in. Unfortunately, he also knows that it takes a little while for Andromeda to traverse. But he's now into siege mode. Yeah, that T-54 is playing with him. He's trying to get one of his own teammates to shoot at Andromeda, but I don't think they're in a position to do that. And there goes the T-54 first prototype. So he can come out of siege mode now and head straight towards the enemy cap if he wants to. I don't think the Waffenträger is in a position to actually help. He was down in the south, but he's actually been seen in the north now. And in fact, actually, he's up near the pass. Yes, he just got wiped out. Taken out by our Jaegeru. Which means that Andromeda is all on his own at the moment. There's nobody down here except maybe the enemy Arty. He might come across this guy very suddenly. Now, if he does, you could actually quickly go into siege mode and get a quick shot in, but you can actually shoot at very large targets just by driving up to them and sticking your gun right in their rear and giving them a good shoot. Yes, call it a colostomy. Either that or an enema. Well, he's decided he's going to go to the cap area instead. And this is going to cause consternation for the enemy because they're in heavy alley right now. And if they do disengage, they're going to get shot in the rear. And in fact, actually, he's already... Well, there's only 3 left on his team, and there's 7 left on the enemy team. Correction, 6 left on the enemy team. And Andromeda's kind of positioning himself behind enough buildings to stop the enemy trying to shoot at him and get him that way. In fact, they probably can't even see him, considering he's so well hidden. And they don't appear to be coming back to get a reset. Instead, the FE-3805 is lobbing shells in and demolishing buildings one by one. If the enemy tanks don't come back, then Andromeda could pick up a surprise win for his team. Yeah, they're firing shells in this direction, but nothing seems to be connecting. He's halfway there. Oh, this could be a very funny victory if this is the case, that he wins it for the team. And there's only 2 left on his team now. There's only the M53, M55 Arty, who's over on the east side of the map. He's the only one other than Andromeda who's still alive. If he tried to fight the tanks face to face, he'd probably lose. So this bold move could actually win it for their team by virtue of the fact that the other team's just not willing to come back and do anything. Well, the Ferdinands found him and they demolished the building, and they do get a reset. So he's actually well below the gun depression of that Ferdinand, and he's just going to keep firing away. Now, if the RT does fire another round in, he might damage his own teammates in the process. Well, he can't do any team damage, but he might actually stun his own teammate. And there's the kill. And they've started capping at the other end. Now, there's only 1 in the cap so far, But there's only 4 enemies left, and that shot did not get a reset. And of course there's a building between him and the FB3805, who's obviously over in the northwest corner of the map. They could get 2 in the cap at the other end, and if they do, it's going to be difficult for Andromeda to win. But he's capping away. So long as there's only 1 in the cap, he's the only one left alive on his team. There's 4 enemies. He didn't have a chance to get a Coloban off, unfortunately. But it's getting to the point where, well, he's failed again, and they've reset. The enemy has reset, and the reason they've reset is an E100 suddenly appeared, and he wipes him out with 1 shot. But he needs to move position now quickly because the enemy Arty knows where he is. So he's moved behind the cover. 13 seconds left. 12, 11. I think they've made a huge cock up, the enemy now. Andromeda could get this win. 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2, 1. Oh my god, he's done it. He has done it. 1 against 3. And he gets wiped out a split second later by the FB3805. But it is a victory. So that's the end of the first replay. Let's have a look at the second one, and then we'll cover the results. Here's the second battle, and this time we've got Andromeda on Arctic Region, otherwise known as Mannerheim Line. Game's on, but again he hasn't loaded in. Oh, yes he has. Just. Some people do load into the game very, very late, and that's why they appear to be stationary for a while, up until the moment, of course, that they connect, and then they're able to start playing the game. Even with my PC, I sometimes load in, there's already 10 seconds into the count, and so I haven't got long before the game actually starts. Okay, he's decided to go fairly deep onto this little corner. There's a good little corner here, actually. Gone to siege mode. Alpine Tiger. That's a Chinese premium tank, the Wizzy 111. And he bounces the round that comes back. That's a 122mm round. He should have overmatched the hull, but he didn't. Now, I did check the speeds whilst I was away. 50 kilometers an hour forwards, 45 backwards. It's almost as fast backwards as it is forwards, but in fact, actually, some of these Swedish flat packs, these tank destroyers, actually do have a driving position where the driver can just turn around and drive in the opposite direction. They've got viewports as well, forwards as well as backwards, so they're perfectly able to retreat at full speed. He's trying to get shots into that Alpine Tiger at the moment, but all he can see is just the top of the tank. That should be enough for him to penetrate those cupolas. You can see there's a fairly decent shot there at that cupola. It is very narrow. They're very flat on the Wizzy 111s, but he can still get it if he can get a pixel shot. And he does! A nice shot for 356. Remember, the alpha on this gun is 390 because it's 105mm with 330 penetration. He's actually reversed the shells now. The premium is in the first slot and the standard is in the second, and standard APCR. Fires another one in and gets another hit on the cupola. 412, a high roll this time. No, it's a heavy tank number 6, which is 2 tiers below. He's top tier in this game, so he's popped up just a bit more, and he gets a good penetration on the heavy tank. 412. He can't kill it with the next shot, but he does get an average roll. And you can see he's bouncing the 88mm rounds that are coming back. Of course, they're not more than 3 times the thickness of the hull, in which case they can't overmatch his hull, so he can get decent pen. And he's staying in siege mode, but he's adjusting his position so he can get shots on the... is it a no-knee? And an Alpine Tiger. He takes out the Alpine Tiger with 1 quick shot. Now be careful here, because that water, that slope is so strong, you might slip into the water and you might not be able to get back out again. That's the risk of playing on this particular area of the map. Wargaming adjusted the map some time ago and made that very, very slippery so people couldn't sneak up on the water edge. Now it is possible under certain circumstances, but not all the time. And I was actually explained. It was shown to me by one of the really good players on my previous clan, Ixter. He showed me that there's a really good position on that area where you can actually defend against enemy teams, even if you're on your own. Well, he manages to bounce around from the heavy tank and wipes him out with one quick shot. Comes down to siege mode again, moving forward. There's not many enemy left, 7 of them. But they haven't many kills on our team. He's creeping up because there's 3 Arty on the enemy team. An M12, Lorraine 15550 and a Lorraine 15551. And it looks like the 15551 player is very good because he's actually got into the bond level on Battle Pass. Oh, there goes. That was the Scorpion G. Can't see the Arty, but we know that one of them has fired at Andromeda before because he was hit by the M12. Just stunned though and damaged the track. He's got 2.3k of damage already, and I think he wants some more. And there's the 15550, and he's auto aimed on. Going to aim mode. One shot. And he's completed whatever mission he needed. There's only 3 enemies left. One of those is a Hellcat. The other 2 are the Arty, M12 and the 15551. He just checked to his right to ensure that where's the other one. There's the 15551. He auto aims on and kills that one with one shot as well. So that's a Pascucci's. The Hellcat's just gone. And he hasn't found the M12. He needs to come out of siege mode. But he's just crawling along slowly. I think his teammates are going to get to the M12 before he does. And no, he can't see the target, so he can't get that kill. And just about everyone fires at that guy at the same time, except Andromeda. So it's all over. 2.6k. Let's have a look at the end of battle results for the first battle and then this one. Well, in the first battle, he got a second-class tanker, fire for effect, and of course he ended up with the Invader medal because he capped out to win when he was outnumbered by the enemy, and fantastic victory. Only a win rate of 1952 because he killed 2 enemy tanks, the E100 and the Ferdinand. He didn't kill the T-54 E1 because E1, the first prototype rather, because somebody else did. They fired a round in, and I think it was the Arty got him in the end. But he did feel the effects of that FV3805 because he got killed by that guy right at the end after he'd already captured the cap. So it really didn't have an effect upon the game. You can see that, in fact, actually his entire team was wiped out, but he still won because he captured before he was killed. We can see that the highest damage was actually done by the T-57 Heavy. He managed to get 4,759 hit points. The M53, M55 got 4,639, and he picked up a Gauze Medal and Confederate. And we can see here that Andromeda didn't get much in the way of damage at all, 1,607, but very importantly he got that Invader which won the game. Lever Slayers for the T-69 on his team as well. When it came to kills, it was the T-69 did the best with 3 kills alongside the FV3805 and the TVP T-5051. And we can see from this that there was 3 enemy tanks still alive at the end of the game, but they lost the game. They could have all jumped into the cap, or rather the Jaegeru and the Object 430 could have jumped into the cap, and they probably could have capped out in time if they hadn't been so eager to no cap kill all, which is usually the case. That's why I urge people to start capping if things look pretty desperate, rather than try and go hunting the enemy. You actually find out sometimes, even though you outnumber the enemy can get you simply because they've got the smarts to actually get into the cap. And we can see that Andromeda managed to get 2 kills in the game. He got the Ferdinand and he also got the E100. And when it came to base XP, he was in 4th place on his team with 848. The M53, M55 got 1,144, the only one to get over 1,000. And the T57 Heavy got 977, T69 945. The best the enemy could do was their Lerva, who got 818, slightly behind Andromeda. He fired 5 rounds, got 5 direct hits and 5 penetrations, so made good use of his ammo. 1,607 hit points of damage, all of it done at close range. Received 2 hits, both penetrations, and 3 hits by way of splash damage, and that's what killed him in the end. The FV3805 splattered him and managed to kill him with splash. 67,164 credits from the game, 33,582 from personal reserves, and 50,000 from mission completion, total 150,746, and he took away 119,930 credits overall, so good money earner, the Strv S1s. He got 3 bonds because it was a tier 10 game, and he also took away 1,772 times 2 for the first victory, 127 for this being a premium vehicle, and took away 2,671 experience points altogether. So yes, he won against 5, and technically it was a 5 at one point. I think it was 2 against 5 rather than 1 against 5. But if he'd actually capped out and he was the only one against 5, he would have got the Kolobanovs at the end. But the fact that I think the M53, M55 was alive just until before the Ferdinand was killed, and that made it 1 against 4 actually at the end. But very, very good. And of course he did take down 2 enemy tanks whilst he was capping, the Ferdinand and the E100. The Ferdinand, a bit surprised he didn't get the Defender. How many defense points did he actually get? Oh, he only got no, it doesn't actually show. That's very odd. It's not showing in the results there. Oh yes, it is there. It's only showing 3 defense points, so it must have been the FZ3805. Yes, he got the Defender, so he reset the cap at the moment that the Ferdinand was killed, so he picked up the 89 defense points and got the Defender medal. So it's down to him. Borbaday. Or Babaday. So, very good game in the first battle. Let's have a look at the second battle and see how Andromeda got on in that one. He got a first-class tanker in this one, got a fighter badge, getting at least 4 kills. He got 4 exactly, a fire for effect for doing more damage than hit points to his own vehicle, a Pascucci's medal because he killed 2 enemy SPGs in the game. He could have had all 3 if he'd come out of siege mode and driven forward as fast as he could to find the M12 and take that guy out as well to pick up Dimitrius. Win 8 was 3955, very good. In fact, actually sitting in siege mode in that position actually gave him good shots on the Wizzy 111, the Alpine Tiger, and also on the heavy tank number 6. And yes, so it was really effective for him. In fact, actually that position is very good so long as there's not lots of Arty in the game, because the moment you're spotted, Arty can hit you, because as a tank destroyer in siege mode you have to remain still to get the shots on accurately, and of course that's where enemy Arty can ruin your game. But of course he was so well camouflaged that he was dropping off the radar of the enemy Arty in between shots, and they just didn't pay any attention to him. Well, all except the M12, who did fire a round in his direction, but he just didn't get it on target. He just splashed Andromeda. But if we look at the team scores, we can see that he got the second highest damage in the game. The highest damage was actually for the IS-2, who got a high caliber for 2,854, and then we got Andromeda with his Pascucci's getting 2,625. When it came to kills, he got the highest number of kills with 4, 3 kills to the FB207, 2 kills to the IS-22, the Hellcats. Nobody on the enemy team managed to get more than 1 kill. And when it came to base XP, he was the only one who got over 1,000. In fact, he got 1,000 exactly. Everyone else was below. If we look at detail, we can see he fired 15 shots, 10 direct hits, 9 penetrations. He didn't get as good this time, but the reason was that he was firing at the cupola of that Alpine Tiger, and it was very difficult to hit, so some of the shots were going astray. 2,625 hit points, of which 2,121 were at more than 300 meters, so mostly a long-range sniper engagement. 3 hits received, 3 of them were non-penetrations, and 1 hit by way of splash was the M12. He earned 49,123 credits from that game, 1 bond, and he also picked up 7,650 XP. You can see that this little tank destroyer is actually quite effective at training tank crews. And so if you do need to train up crews for your Swedish tank destroyers, yes, this is definitely one to get. So I would definitely recommend it for that. I don't think I'd recommend it for training up a medium crew though, because there are so many other Swedish premiums, like the Prima Victoria and the Strv M4257, so it's better probably to get one of them instead of actually getting the Strv and cross-training to a medium tank and converting the crews afterwards, because you always lose some XP when you transfer them over or have to spend gold to do it. But definitely a good game and another epic medal, because that is an epic, that one, the Pascucci's, pretty sure it is. And so well done to Andromeda. If you enjoyed those replays, please give this video a like, do subscribe to our channel, leave a comment down below because it feeds the algorithm, and thank you for watching.